The principle of double criminality is the next criteria for extradition of offender or in the process of extradition. After political crime, it has to be seen whether the crime committed by the accused fulfill the principle of double criminality. Now the question is what is that double criminality is. So state refuse to grant extradition under this rule which is normally incorporated in the extradition treaties. If you look into the extradition treaties, these provisions are there. So under this principle, extradition is granted only when the act committed constitute an offense under the law of both requesting and requested state. It is just simple. If the offense of murder is committed, then the offense of murder must be offense in both the countries. Offense of theft is committed, it must be offense in both the countries. If it is not an offense in one country, then they will not extradite. Suppose the offense of fraud is committed in India and the person fled to England, and where in England fraud is not an offense, then it will create the hurdle of principle of double criminality because fraud is not an offense under. Generally, this will happen in case of unnatural offenses because generally the offenses are same. Fraud is an offense. Any act which causes injury to the person property is an offense almost all over in the world. Only so far as morality, religion, etc. are concerned. On this aspect, the country differs. Somewhere it is not an offense. Blasphemy cannot be offense in number of country, or it can be an offense in one country. To deny the existence of God, it may be offense in Pakistan. It is not an offense in India. So the offense of double criminality means the requesting and requested state must have made such an act as an offense. So the case is the case of Factor versus Laubenhammer. The case was decided by the US court in the year 1933. It is based on the principle of double criminality. Here, in this case, the British authorities sought the extradition of a Factor. Factor is name of accused. Factor on the charge of receiving in London money which he knew to have been fraudulently obtained. When extradition was initiated, Factor was residing in the state of Illinois. In the US, it is one of the state in US, Illinois. The offense for which Factor was charged was not an offense in Illinois. So receiving money fraudulently was not an offense in the state where he is residing. But where he committed in London, there it is an offense. So the US Supreme Court held that this did not prevent extradition. However, here the principle of double criminality was not accepted by the US Supreme Court and one step was added there. So this did not prevent extradition if according to criminal law generally of the US, the offense was punishable. Because here the difference of state law was there because Illinois is one of the state in US, but the general US law like भारताचा विचार केला तर सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटचा कायदा आणि राज्य सरकारचा कायदा. आता इलिनॉइस जे स्टेट आहे युएस मधलं तिथं तो क्राईम नाही, पण युएस मध्ये जनरली दॅट इज क्राईम. सो the court refused his argument. If according to criminal law generally of US, the offense was punishable. तो offense जर punishable आहे US मध्ये तर the principle is applicable. The above being the first dimension of the principle, that is, it should be an offense. But one more thing was added there. That is, the second dimension was added to the principle, which stated that even the punishment for the offense committed must be the same under the laws of both the requesting and requested state. So this is the new factor added by the US Supreme Court in the principle of double criminality. Earlier, the principle was that it must be an offense in both the country. Now, the offense must be punishable equally in both the countries with the same punishments. So this dimension was the result of one another case, that is Soring, Soering, Soring case. Soring is a name again. The case was decided in the year 1989 by European Court of Human Rights. So wherein Mr. Soring, a German national, while pursuing higher studies in American university, fell in love with an American girl who was his classmate. Both wanted to get married, but the parents of the girl were against the marriage, which promoted them to murder the parents of the girl. Subsequently, both, after the commission of offense, fled to UK, and the US government initiated proceeding for their extradition. The UK government stated that even the punishment must be the same, because since punishment for murder under UK law was imprisonment for life, and because of the European Union and many countries have abolished the death penalty as a punishment, and in United States it is the death penalty for offense of murder, the British government refused to extradite. However, the British government tried and punished Soring and his girlfriend under British criminal law. See, because both the countries are having jurisdiction, that's what they refused extradition to America and tried the case into the British and punished them as per the British law. So, because of this double criminality principle, they were not extradited to US, but they were prosecuted in the Britain itself, and they awarded punishment. The next rule is double criminality मध्ये कोणाला काही प्रॉब्लेम आहे का? You may ask in chat box. The Soring case added the criteria of punishment. Earlier it was only the criteria of offense, whether particular act is an offense. Now whether there is a punishment is shortly repeat. Net problem. पनिशमेंट सेम असणं आवश्यक आहे, फक्त दोन्हीकडे ऑफेन्स असणं आवश्यक असून चालणार नाही. ज्या गोष्टीसाठी तो व्यक्ती पळून गेलाय, ती गोष्ट ज्या देशात पळून गेलाय तिथं पण गुन्हा असणं आवश्यक आहे, तरच ते क्राईम एक्स्ट्राडिटेबल असेल. दुसरी गोष्ट दोन्हीकडे शिक्षा सारखीच पाहिजे. त्याच्यामुळेच नंतर आपण अबू सालेमच्या केसमध्ये पाहणार आहे की अबू सालेम ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सोरिंग केस approach to the European Convention on Human Rights, because with the Portuguese government, treaty was entered that he should not be punished up to the particular kind of punishment that we will see, but still he was awarded a different punishment, and thereby he challenged his extradition into the European court. But the petition was dismissed because we are not party to the European Convention, and that convention is not binding on India. Yes. So next rule is rule of speciality. Now after double criminality, next rule is rule of speciality. This rule also find place in extradition, treaties and national laws. According to the rule, the requesting state can punish the extradited person only for the offense for which he was extradited, and not for the offense which was not entered in the his extradition. If a person is extradited for murder, he shall not be tried for causing grievous hurt. So this is the rule of speciality. This rule was challenged by the Abu Salim. Later we will see that case. So rule of speciality म्हणजे ज्या गुन्ह्यासाठी आरोपीचं हस्तांतरण केलेलं आहे त्याच गुन्ह्यासाठी त्याच्यावर खटला चालवावा किंवा तोच खटला चालवलेला असला पाहिजे आणि त्याच्यासाठीच शिक्षा द्यावी. बाकीचे गुन्हे त्याच्यावर घेऊ नये. त्याच्यामुळे एक्स्ट्राडिशन ट्रीटीचं ड्राफ्टिंग करतानाच whatever offenses were registered against the accused, all offenses must have to be included, or clause pertaining to that must have to be included in the extradition agreement while transferring or surrendering any offender, so that rule of speciality See the notes given. SP च्या नोट्स पाहण्यापेक्षा तुम्ही ह्या पहा आपल्या. आपण जे दिलंय तुम्हाला आणि रिकमेंडेड बुक्स जे दिले ते पहा. काय होतंय तुम्ही SP मध्ये बघताय वाटतं. तिकडं वेगळं काहीतरी दिलेलं आहे ते काय रिकमेंडेड बुक मध्ये नाहीये. कालच कोणतरी प्रश्न विचारला होता त्याच्यात 1789 आहे. काय मॉड्यूल 1 चा प्रश्न काल कोणतरी मॉड्यूल 7 चालू असताना विचारलं की Jeremy Bentham coined the term law of nation for the first time in the year 1970-80 आणि SP मध्ये 1789 आहे. Whether SP is recommended in your syllabus, see that and also check the recommended books what they are saying and what SP is saying. Yes. So it is the rule of speciality. It was there in the study material posted in the classroom. Link posted. You may go and download it module wise. So it is the rule of speciality. Rule of speciality is simply the ज्या गोष्टीसाठी आरोपीचं हस्तांतरण केलंय ज्या ऑफेन्ससाठी सॉरी त्याच ऑफेन्ससाठी त्याच्यावर खटला भरा किंवा ती ट्रायल चालवा नव्याने वेगळे ऑफेन्सेस त्याच्यावर लावू नका. दॅट इज रूल ऑफ स्पेशालिटी ने हा रूल अबू सालेमच्या केसमध्ये चॅलेंज झाला. सो धिस रूल is there in the Indian Extradition Act also as well as in number of extradition treaties. Generally state incorporate this rule. So if a person is, for example, if a person is extradited for murder, he shall not be tried for causing grievous hurt. One another aspect is there, that is rendition. Rendition is a reciprocal agreement between two states. की आम्ही तुमचे ऑफेंडर देत जाऊ तुम्ही आमचे ऑफेंडर देत जा. Simply that is called as rendition. The state on the basis of reciprocity, it is bilateral treaty generally, may make an ad hoc arrangements under which an offender may be returned to a state to be tried by that state. This is called rendition. Now the cases pertaining to the political crime, I think we had seen yesterday the cases of political crime, and we are at the Savarkar's case, I think, yesterday, because the defense of political crime was also pleaded in the Savarkar case, that is case between France versus Great Britain. Now, actually it should be the case between India and Great Britain, how France entered into, because the Savarkar fled away in the meantime to in the France, and the authorities of the France arrested him and handed over to the Great Britain. Later they realized we had committed wrong. How we handed over a criminal without extradition? Because he fled away and arrested by the France. The procedure is the Great Britain must have to approach to the France through an extradition treaty and ask the surrendered or return of the offender. But the France authority did not realize this and they simply handed over him. And then they approached to the Britishers for extradition. So the permanent court of arbitration, the case was decided by the permanent court of arbitration. They decided in favor of Great Britain. And it was observed that while admitting that an irregularity was committed by the arrest of Savarkar and by his being handed over to the British police, there is no role of international law imposing in circumstances as such as those which have been set out above. So any obligation on the power which has in its custody a prisoner to restore him because of mistake committed by the foreign agent who delivered him up to that power, because it was done through the mistake. Therefore, the no question of extradition would be there, and the case was solved in favor of Great Britain. Later, they carried the Savarkar into the Nashik, and he was executed in India. Then the next case is R versus. It is also relating to political crime. R versus Governor of Brixton Prison, 1955 Queen Bench. In this case, the facts are as follows: where seven Polish seamen had overpowered the captain and other members of the Polish vessel and had brought it to the England and sought asylum. Now, asylum is a reverse thing to the extradition. The government of Poland initiated extradition proceedings and requested the British government to extradite them. The English court refused the extradition on the ground that the act of the seven crewmen was a political nature. In this case, the court did not follow the Castiglione case because in Poland there was no struggle between two political parties for political power, and the court instead observed that the word offense of political nature must always be considered according to the circumstances existing at the time when they have to be considered. So, rule of political crime was wrongly applied here in R versus Governor of Brixton. That's what this rule is always criticized. That what is political crime is always on the mercy of concerned state with whom the accused is. They interpret the political crime as per their own way, and for political reasons, either refuse or accept the extradition. So there must be a change into the concept of political crime itself. So next case is of Government of India versus Mubarak Ali. ही पण IPC मध्ये पाहिली असेल. The case was decided in the year 1952, reported in All England Reporter 1960. So, in the instant case, the prisoner had committed forgery and crossed over to Pakistan. So, here offense is committed in India and he fled away to Pakistan. India could not get the accused extradited from Pakistan. India requested Pakistan for extradition, but it was not a success. Subsequently, the prisoner left Pakistan and went to England. पाकिस्तान बरोबर एक्स्ट्राडिशन ट्रीटी सक्सेस नाही झाली. त्याच्यानंतर आरोपी पाकिस्तानमधून इंग्लंडमध्ये गेला. त्याला वाटलं विषय संपला. इंडिया रिक्वेस्टेड फॉर हिज एक्स्ट्राडिशन. Later, India approached to the England and requested for his extradition because now he is in England. So the cause of action remains alive in India. Unless the person is punished, the crime remains alive. See this principle always. See, once crime is committed, that crime remain alive in the eyes of law unless the person is punished. So, or something done with the accused. Either he acquitted, he discharged, lack of evidence, etc. Something has to be done. If not done, the crime remain always alive, or it may be reopened whenever accused will found. So here, India requested for his extradition. He pleaded that he would not get a fair trial in India for political reasons. The court, however, refused to treat him as a political criminal and surrendered him. So here, political crime was not accepted as a defense because committing forgery is not considered as a political crime. The court further observed that the fact that the prisoner has been a subject of a political controversy in the requesting state does not make him a political offender. International law leaves it to the state to determine whether a particular act is of political nature or not. But it seems reasonable that the discretion of the state in this regard would be restricted by the general rules of international law. आता इथं आरोपीनं डिफेन्स घेतला की पॉलिटिकली भारत त्याला फेअर ट्रायल देणार नाही, पण याला पॉलिटिकल क्राईम म्हणता येणार नाही असं कोर्टानं सांगितलं. आणि पॉलिटिकल क्राईम काय हे त्या त्या राष्ट्राच्या विशेष अधिकारावर त्याची व्याख्या अवलंबून असेल. आणि इथं इंग्लंडनं त्याचं सरेंडर भारताकडे केलं. पाकिस्तानमध्येच राहिलं असतं तर सरेंडर करायची गरज नसती. पण पाकिस्तानमधून इंग्लंडमध्ये आल्यामुळं परत भारतानं इंग्लंडला अप्रोच केलं आणि इंग्लंड बरोबर एक्स्ट्रॅडिशन ट्रीटी करून इंग्लंडनं त्याला ट्रान्सफर केलं. Therefore, states will be under pressure to extradite persons who have committed acts of genocide, war crime, crime against humanity, and terrorist acts. Such offenders cannot be protected under category of political offenders. हे आपण काल पण पाहिलं. पॉलिटिकल गेनसाठी जर हे ऑफेन्स होत असतील तर दे आर नॉट सेड टू बी अ पॉलिटिकल ऑफेंडर्स. Now, number of cases are there, but we are not going to see each. Even the case of the music director Nadeem is there, wherein his extradition was not get a success. He was in Britain because of the lack of evidence with the Indian authorities. The Britain court said the evidence is not sufficient to prosecute the accused. Therefore, he could not be extradited. Then certain successful extraditions are the extradition with the Indonesia and India. The accused of Chota Rajan, he recently, prior to 2 years back, extradited from Indonesia to India, and even the Abu Salim from Portuguese to India. So we will see that case, Abu Salim extradition case. So Abu Salim extradition case, Abu Salim was charged for various offences, including the 1993 Mumbai bomb blast case and other offense of murder and extortions. And after the blast, he left India and subsequently located himself in Portugal. India did not sign an extradition treaty with the Portugal. However, India sought extradition under the United Nations Convention on Suppression of Terrorism 2000. So by using this convention, India approached to Portugal and requested his extradition. Since India and Portugal are parties to this convention, now there was no bilateral treaty between the two states, but the convention, that is Convention on Suppression of Terrorism 2000, both are parties under this convention. The India requested his extradition. So they are under obligation to help each other in the war against terrorism. Meanwhile, Abu Salim and his girlfriend Monica Bedi were prosecuted and sentenced by the court of law in Portugal, as they are offender there because of the forged passport. So two state have jurisdiction. They were already sentenced by the court in Portugal. The court also ordered the extradition of both the fugitive to India. And after their sentence, the meantime, the Portugal court ordered extradition of these two offenders to India. आफ्टर कम्प्लिशन ऑफ द सेंटेन्स, तिथली शिक्षा पूर्ण झाल्यानंतर, तिथले ते मायनर क्राईम्स असतील, तिथल्या शिक्षा भोगून झाल्यानंतर यांना भारताकडे एक्स्ट्राडिट करा. अँड देअर बाय Abu Salem and Monica Bedi moved the European Court of Human Rights against extradition, which refused to intervene in the matter because India, being not a party, neither Portugal. They were extradited on the assurance of the government of India that they would not be sentenced to death. The term was there in their extradition that no death sentence will be awarded against the two. On this condition, they were extradited. However, once they come to India, In India, the CBI included a new charges. That's what the rule of speciality they challenged. CBI included a new charge which was against the rule of speciality because whatever agreed is for terrorism, he was extradited for the act of terrorism. That too, not giving death penalty. But once he was extradited here, the Indian government CBI imposed extra charge upon him, which was against the rule of speciality. On Salim's application, then he approached the Supreme Court of India. So on Salim's application, the Supreme Court of Portugal terminated his extradition to India. On a directions given by the Supreme Court of India, the CBI dropped the additional charges against Abu Salim, and his trial is in progress. So the extra charges were dropped, and whatever charges there as per treaty, those charges were continued against him, and his trial is in progress. So the case was CBI versus Abu Salim Abdul Qayyum Ansari. And the charge was Pradeep Jain murder case. That charge was later dropped, and the other charges under which extradition is sought were continued, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment under other charges. Now there were certain efforts to curtail the misuse, and recently you are reading about the Vijay Malla's extradition case. You may add that case after Abu Salim, that the by committing certain bank scams, he fled Punjab National Bank and several other SBI, including even contempt of court. He fled to Britain and applied to the British court for non-extradition. The British court refused earlier, the trial court, and even now Supreme Court of UK refused his extradition. But still he was not brought to India. And yesterday, day before yesterday, there was a news that there is a secret proceeding going on in Britain between Malla and Britain, for which India is not party. And that secret proceeding might be a proceeding of asylum. So it is not, possibility cannot be ruled out, cannot be denied, that Vijay Mallya might have been applied for seeking asylum from the British government in Britain. That's what the procedure was called as a secret proceeding, because to whom asylum is granted or not is a complete discretion of the concerned state, and that cannot be disclosed. So we will see tomorrow what asylum is. Yes.